Hello. Today we're going to talk about revolving charge credit cards. I think this is the kind of information we all need to know. Most people have credit cards, and if you do, then you want to know how this works. Now, this is showing that if you have a balance of either $1,000, $2,500, or $5,000, and you only pay the minimum amount due, which is 2% in this case of your balance, then you're not going to get very far in getting it paid off. The reason for that is that a very small portion of your payment goes toward your balance and the rest is just interest. So you're just paying someone a lot of money because you have this balance on your credit card. So look at the time, right? Total time for paying off this $1,000 if paying the minimum, and that would be $20 a month for 1,000, or 50 for 2,500, or 100 for 5,000. So you just don't get anywhere, right? It takes forever. You're never going to get there. So the rule of thumb is you always want to pay way more than the minimum in order to make progress on your credit card, because you don't want to be carrying that balance forever and paying all that interest. If you look at this, and we kind of did this on the previous lesson, look how much interest you paid on that $1,000. So if you subtract that, that's $1,590. On the next one, you're paying almost $5,000, right? From here to here, almost $5,000 in interest. And then on the $5,000, you're paying over $10,000. But it is also taking you 40 years, so you know you're stringing that way out. These are kind of extreme examples, but this does show you what happens. Okay, so just a few things about terminology. Revolving charge credit cards. Interest charges are based on the interest rate times the previous month's balance. Okay, so you take the previous month's balance or the average balance and you're going to multiply it by your interest rate. The payments are first applied toward interest and then the outstanding balance. So in other words, when you figure that amount on your payments, part of it goes toward the interest and the rest goes toward the balance, whatever interest is due, basically. Revolving charge means you can keep charging to your credit card until you get your maximum limit. It might not be a credit card. Sometimes there's other things that would be revolving credit. So that can get quite a lot of money if you just you pay some, you charge some, you pay some, you charge some, you never get anywhere. All right, so this one, all right, so I fixed it where you could see it. So on this one, Abby is paying for a dining room set she purchased for $8,000. She plans to pay $500 per month until she completely pays off her dining room set. This is showing the first 3 payments and how that works. So she's charged 1.5% each month of her balance, or 18% for the year. So you can kind of see this breakdown. If you take your balance times 0.015, then you get an interest amount of 120 right here. And then that means that you're going to take 500 and subtract the 120, and this is how much goes towards your outstanding balance. So to get this balance over here, right, you take 8,000 minus the amount that you get to reduce your balance by, which is also called the principal. And so you just keep going through that process. Now your outstanding balance has changed. You take that times the 0.015, 114.30, you subtract that from 500. This goes toward your balance due, and now you've reduced it some more. And then after the third payment, you've made it to $6,842.81, and originally it was at $8,000, so you see that you're making a good amount of progress here, because you're paying a pretty high payment of $500 each month. But you'll also notice this is how much goes toward reducing the balance, and these numbers, right, the 120, 114.30, and 108.51 all just went to interest, right? So that's what you're paying for this loan. All right, so we are going to do something similar to what I just showed you. Okay, on this one, Jill bought a $600 rocking chair. The terms of her revolving charge are 1.75% on the unpaid balance from the previous month. If she pays $125 per month, complete a schedule for the first 3 months, like Table 10.1, which was the previous slide. Okay, be sure to use a US rule, which just means we apply the interest and the rest goes to balance. Okay, so there's a lot of filling out on this chart. In all the examples on this lesson. Okay, so we're going to put in the outstanding balance is $600. And then we start working our way across the table. Okay, 1.75% is 1.75 in percent form, but we're going to write this in decimal form to calculate. So 0.0175. So we take the balance times the interest for the month, and we find that we get $10.50. Okay, now the monthly payment is $125, and it's going to stay the same. This column will be $125 as we work our way down, but I'm going to use different colors. The reduction in balance due is going to be 125 minus 1050. Okay, so the 1050 is the interest, and the rest of this is going to go toward the principal, and it's 114.50. And so then we take our outstanding balance, which was 600. We subtract the amount that we're reducing our balance by, right? That's the principal amount, basically. And then that is 485.50. So every payment's made up of two parts, principal and interest. So when I'm talking about the principal, I'm talking about this number 114.50 goes towards your principal. That's the principal part, or goes toward your balance. That's the principal part of the payment. All right, we're going to change colors for the next row. So our outstanding balance now is 485.50. And then we're just going to go through the same process again. We've got the new balance. We're going to multiply it by the interest rate in decimal form. And interest this month is going to be $850. Notice the interest went down and the principal will go up. So 125. We're going to take that and subtract the interest amount. And then this is how much is going to go toward our balance. Right, that's going to reduce the balance by $116.50. So we take our previous balance and subtract $116.50. So the new balance is $369. All right, and then next we're going to have the last row. Now we're down to $369. That's the balance on the loan. Multiply it by the 1.75% in decimal form. So the interest this time is only $6.46. Now remember, this is a pretty small amount, $600 in the beginning. So you can see why the interest amounts are not going to be huge. Still have the same payment, and we'll subtract the interest from that payment. And that gives us $118.54. Subtract that from the previous balance. You can always, remember, pause this and you can work out one or two rows of this chart if you feel like you're ready for that, and so that you're getting that practice. So we end up after 3 payments with a balance of $250.46. All right. So now we're going to talk about average daily balance and how you get that. And this is for, like a credit card where your balance is changing. It's not staying the same. So on this one, your balance stayed the same all month, right? You reduced it, it stayed at the same place, and it didn't change. But with a credit card, your balance could change really often, right? Depending on how much you use it. Do you pay on it? Do you charge more to it? And all of that. And so that's what this chart is about. So I want you to just pause this and take a look at how we go through this. You may want to take a look at it longer. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But basically we calculate the daily balance based on adding or subtracting, right? So if you pay on it, we get to subtract that. If you charge to it, we're going to add that, and then your daily balance changes. Then we take that and multiply it by the number of days that it stayed that balance. And then we are going to add up all the cumulative daily balances, and to figure out what your average is, we'll end up with this big number that we divide by the number of days in the cycle. And notice it says always check the number of days in the billing cycle, because sometimes it's not going to be 30 or 31 days. I think our first example coming up is, yeah, it's a 28-day cycle. So you definitely want to pay attention to that because it can make a difference. And so on this one, I'm not sure if we'll get it done on this video. We may have to pause and go to the next one, because let's see, both of these problems are pretty long. We'll kind of get started probably, and then I'll go to I'll stop it and start a new video. Molly Rowe has requested you to calculate the average daily balance. The customer believes the average daily balance should be $877.67. Respond to the customer's concern. Well, what we're going to find out here is that the customer is not right, and then we'll explain that in the end. We're going to start out looking at our billing dates here. So it started on the 18th, and really all you have to do here is subtract. So this one, between these two, it's going to be 6 days. And then between the 24th to the 29th, it's 5. And the 29th to the 5th, now you may have to count up a little bit. You could look at a calendar if you need to, if you're not sure how many days. This is March. March has 31 days. So if we count up, we do 30, 31, and then 5. So we're going to have 7 days on that cycle. And then from the 5th to the 9th is 4 more days. And then I'm going to show you this on the chart, but how many days have we done here? We have 6, 5, 7, and 4. If we add those together, 11, 18, 22. So that's 22 days, and that means then there'll be 6 more days in the cycle. And we'll put that on our chart whenever we're doing those calculations. So I'm not going to start any of the calculations on this video. I'm going to stop it and start the new one, and then we'll start our calculating.